Alexa, open BraveWords Radio.
Welcome back to BraveWords Radio. Brought to you by Vox Protocol, the global leader in voice app entertainment. BraveWords Radio is an awesome musical extension of BraveWords.com, where we have been waving the flag of hard rock and heavy metal around the world for over 30 years. Since you have been here before, we hope you enjoy BraveWords Radio.
Please welcome to Streaming for Vengeance, BraveWords Streaming for Vengeance, the matriarch of metal, Wendy Dio. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And as I mentioned, we need to dive into a very special moment in hard rock and heavy metal history that you are kind of bringing back to us. Not that it ever left, but let's dive into Holy Diver, because it really is one of the greatest achievements in metal history. Like, did you guys, when you were creating this thing, was it really like this, wow, this is like one of the most special moments that we have ever in the studio?
No, it didn't start like that. It was just, Ronnie finally was in control of his own life and just wanted to make some good music. Didn't have any clue that it was going to be such an iconic album, which we're really, really pleased, obviously, about, but had no idea that it was going to be like that.
Now, whose idea was it that it needed a refresh? Because even Joe said, oh, I can't touch this thing. It's perfection. So what needed to happen? Who had that initial idea to correct something?
Rhino came to me and thought that it would be good to have someone refresh it, make it a little bit more modern, bring it up to date. And so I decided I wanted to pick who I wanted to do it, who I thought Ronnie would appreciate doing the remix. And I researched Joe, and I thought he was going to be the perfect person. And I'm over the moon about his production on it. It's amazing, and I think he did it really great. It's right in your face. I think Ronnie would have been very proud of it.
Was Ronnie actually happy with how Holy Diver had aged over time?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, really? Okay. Wow. Did he want to fix anything? Did he complain like years later?
Well, Ronnie was when he wrote something and did something, then it was on to the next thing. He was always on to the next thing. So he never went back really and listened to his work. He always was like ready for the next thing, creating the next thing.
So he was first in line for the last in line.
Yeah, that's right.
What was like a major pull at the heartstrings moment when you were working on this box set? Something that really like took you back, or moments?
Just when I really realized that it'll be 40 years next year that this album came out, and that, fans are still wanting to hear the music and keeping Ronnie's music and legend alive, and that the young kids are now listening to the music from the innovators. And I just think that's just amazing. And I know Ronnie would be so pleased about that.
It's an important point you make, because every day there's a new generation of music lover. And if you've never heard an album before, this is a new release to a little kid because he's never heard it before.
Right. And I think kids are like, now they're watching things like Stranger Things, Eddie's wearing, a Dio on his back of his vest. I think, young kids are getting more and more exposed, not only to Ronnie's music, but, to Judas Priest, to Iron Maiden, to Deep Purple. They're listening to things that they're discovering these new iconic things, which are new and to them, but of course have been, around for years.
Heavy
because they're
metal.
classic. They're classics. You know, I mean, I don't know many bands of today whose music in 40 years will still be listened to. I wish it was a different story, but I'm sure there'll be one or two bands here and there, but it doesn't seem to be a lot.
It's almost like icons like Ronnie James Dio. It's almost like the metal scene is like the classical music scene. It's going to be music that's going to be heard for decades and centuries, and it's truly timeless.
Yes, it is timeless. Absolutely timeless.
What role did you have in the box in terms of like the physical? Because it must be a lot of fun to actually be able to play with the music, but people like the metal community, like me, we're collectors. I don't want like just a digital stream. I want to hold something cool. And you guys created something cool.
I think that Joe uncovered the outtakes, and he said, what about putting those on? And first of all, I was a little hesitant about it. And then I thought, why not? Let the kids hear how the songs came about. And I think that was great. We put the outtakes on there. We put a lot of stuff on there, different things that we put on an unreleased show from Fresno in 1983, which, you know, we uncovered in the vault. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the vault. We uncovered that and put that out. So Wynn Davis was mixed that for us, and it was just amazing. We just found different jewels to put on this box set. And that was very exciting. And it was fun to go into the vault and look through the stuff that hadn't been in there for years.
What do you think of this vinyl craze? Because it really is crazy. I never thought. I'm a huge CD collector, and now vinyl is becoming this #1 collector.
Well, I think it's great. And it's also, you know, Ronnie always, you know, loved the vinyls because they had the artwork on them. Whereas when it came into compact discs, there's hardly any room for artwork. And he always said, you know, you go to a store and you see the artwork, you go, oh, wonder what's inside that package. That looks inviting.
What did he think then when Holy Diver came out on LP, and then you saw this shrunken little like postage stamp version of this iconic artwork? Did that disappoint him?
Yes, it did, especially on cassette, because cassette was even smaller.
Right. Exactly. Just a technical thing for people that aren't really in tune with the business. Like, where are the master tapes like stored? You know what I mean? At Warner Bros.
We have them in a vault, which is climate controlled. So that's why they're all kept into a special vault that is climate controlled. So that's where they're all kept. There's some phone ringing in the background. Yeah.
It's all good.
I try to walk away from it. I should finish in a minute. Gosh, sorry about that.
No problem. Like, looking back, what was
call from
Okay, got rid of it.
that makes this interview really real. What was your role way back in the day when Ronnie left Sabbath, and like to launch this, like to build the band, to build the music, just to build this brand new entity? What was your role?
Well, that's when I became Ronnie's manager, and it was hard but exciting. You know, we went over the cover together, and we also, inside the original album, I had put together a bunch of photos of the band as the babies and growing up, and then on the other side where it was supposed to be a competition, but it never came to pass. Warner Brothers is supposed to do it as a competition, but there's lots of different little things, or you have to guess what song it is on the illustrations. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work. The first tour going out was a lot of hard work. You know, we mortgaged our house to get the money together to put the band to get out on the road with a big stage set that Ronnie wanted, and it was a really exciting time, but it was also a very nervous time because you didn't know how the kids were going to accept it, what was going to happen. But it was, and the first time that Ronnie played and the kids went crazy, made goosebumps down. I had goosebumps, and it was like all the hard work was worth it, and it was it was a joy, and it was a real fun time.
Now, you were signed to a very prolific label, obviously, that has a ton of classic rock history, R&B. How were the Suits taking to a Ronnie James Dio record?
Kind of ignored it, first of all. Didn't really do very much until Ronnie got success.
Right.
Obviously, it's different now. I got some amazing people over at Rhino,
Sure.
amazing people, like Rob Gross and Jason Elsey and Mark Pincus. And all these people are just amazing people that are passionate, again, about the product, which is really important to an artist.
Now, Ronnie experienced that when he first joined the band. Wasn't there a rumor that Warner Brothers did not want to record a record without Ozzy? So the band said, screw you, we're going to do it all by ourselves. And then Heaven and Hell appeared.
Correct. When we did Black Sabbath, yes. When Ronnie went into Black Sabbath, yes, that happened. They were not very, a lot of times a record label doesn't really care until you've got success.
Right.
And once you've got success, then they jump on and try to change everything.
Was Ronnie truly unhappy in Sabbath?
No, not at all. He was very happy in Sabbath. It was the happiest time he had playing with those players. Just different things came up at different times that he had to leave.
Was there any controversy with the Holy Diver artwork? I'm not much of a religious person, but when you look at it, I'm sure there must have been some kind of backlash by somebody.
Of course, we had a lot of backlash, but Ronnie's explanation was, okay, so there's a priest. You say he's a good guy because he has a priest outfit on. There's a monster. You say he's a bad guy because he looks like that. Never judge a book by its cover. Right. That's Ronnie's whole philosophy about writing his songs and everything. He wrote a lot of songs for people that, were maybe wore the wrong clothes or looked wrong, too short, too big, too this, too that. And that was Ronnie, that Ronnie wanted those people to know that it doesn't matter. Follow your dreams, never give up, and don't let people judge you by what you wear or what you look like, because it's your heart inside that matters. And that was Ronnie's message.
Right. Very special. What's your favorite song on the album?
Oh, I got lots of favorite songs. Let's say Don't Talk to Strangers.
Yeah. Beautiful song.
I just love the way that starts off so melodic and then goes into the woof. And I love that song.
Well, it's almost like the whisper in his voice, right?
Yes. But if you ask me what song was my favorite song out of all songs, it has to be Rainbow Eyes, because he wrote that about me.
Oh, sweet. Very sweet. Sorry. Where was I going with this? You're taking me down some wonderful paths here. How close were you when these songs were being created? Like, were you actually in the room?
Ronnie would mostly create sitting on the couch with a guitar watching sports.
Okay.
He loved sports of all kinds. And he always thought that, I don't know much about sports, but he always said, that guy is like the bass player. This one is like the thing. And and also he had no distraction from anything musically while he was writing, but he had something to watch and to get excited about.
Did you guys keep a lot of paraphernalia, like collectibilities? Like what is like the most valuable piece or the most like heartfelt piece from that whole era that you have?
I have the Holy Diver. I have the original painting of Holy Diver that hangs behind my desk in my office, and that's probably my most treasured piece.
Wow, very special, very special. Now, do you feel like a proud mother when you see Vivian Campbell walking around the stages of the world with Def Leppard, where he began? No. Okay. Any Jimmy Bain memories?
Oh, lots of Jimmy Bain. Jimmy Bob Bain, we used to call him. He was such a character. He was a sweetheart, absolute sweetheart. Never had a bad bone in his body, just always laughing, always fun. Even though he did so much, drugs and alcohol, he was always up on stage playing his parts. He was just Jimmy, with Jimmy Bob Bain.
One of the last times that we connected, you called me and said, Tim, I need your help with this new project, and could we get them on the cover? And we're talking about Heaven and Hell.
Yeah.
And another very special moment in Sabbath and Ronnie James Dio history, and I'll never forget, probably one of my favorite concert moments is watching Heaven and Hell perform Children of the Sea at the Wacken Open Air, and with 100,000 people. I'm sure you must have been there, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that was the first song that Tony and Ronnie collaborated on and wrote, was Children of the Sea.
Wow. And you had not too many dry eyes in that audience that day, that's for sure. That's how moving all that material. Do you have good memories from that kind of resurrection of the Sabbath era?
I think that Heaven and Hell, it was, I'm really, really happy that Ronnie got to play with them before he passed away. The band was playing amazing. There were no drugs anymore. There were no bitterness. Everybody loved each other. Everybody played so well together. Ronnie always said that, you know, Tony was the riff master and Geezer Butler's amazing bass and Vinny's drums. And the four of them were just, you know, just a dynamite, just amazing. They were playing so well. It was just going so well. And everybody was having so much fun. And it was just wonderful. And I'm so glad that Ronnie got to do that before he passed away.
What else do you think he wanted to conquer? What was left?
Ronnie wanted to conquer. Well, he wanted to finish his trilogy of Magica, which unfortunately never got to finish. But that was one of the things he wanted to do. I think he would have wanted to go into production, producing young bands. He had done a few things with different bands, and I think that was something he was interested in doing. But he always loved performing. That was his, you know, he loved his fans more than anything else. He loved his fans. I think more than me, more than the animals, he loved his fans because he connected with them, and he never forgot where he came from. And he always used to say, you know, I wouldn't be where I was if they weren't there. He
held everybody right there in the palm of his hand. He was like this connection, in like with there might be like 100,000 people there, but he was looking at you.
That's right, absolutely, and he was, and it wasn't false or phony. He was really genuinely loved people. He loved to talk to people. He loved to talk about them. He loved to know what was going on with them, not to talk about himself.
Ronnie at 80, I was looking at what the gift is for 80. It's in the classic era, it would be oak. In the current era, it would be diamonds and pearls. So Ronnie James Dio would have been 80 years old. Wow. I can't picture Ronnie at 80. I just can't do that. I know.
I laugh every time I think about it when they say 80th birthday. I'm like, I just can't picture him at 80.
Like you obviously had a daily routine. What is the one thing you miss from that daily routine with a loved one?
Probably going over different things of what he was going to be doing that week. Probably having an argument on the phone because he didn't want to do something that I had planned for him to do. Playing with the animals, you know, I mean, we've always had animals. We've always had rescue animals. And he loved his animals. He loved to be with his animals. He loved to have, you know, people over, just a few friends over. He didn't like to go out much. When he was off the road, he liked to have his close friends over, and, you know, we'd sit by the bar and have a drink and just chat and just have, you know, just really nothing special, just life.
Was there any moment where you gave the green light to something and Ronnie said, no?
Oh, many times, but I usually got my way. I never interfered with his music. He never interfered with my management, but there were things he didn't want to do that I would set up, and we'd have our argument. In fact, one time I was like, he always had an argument with me about doing interviews. He always did them and he always enjoyed them, but he'd have an argument with me. And I said, one day, I'm really busy, Ronnie. I just need you to do this, please. Just say yes right now. Why do you have to put me through this every single time? He goes, Wendy, I have to suffer. You have to suffer. And
I love that.
He had a really wonderful sense of humor, Ronnie. People will always tell you he loved to play jokes on people, and he had a wonderful sense of humor. He liked British humor, which a lot of Americans don't quite understand. And you know, that was one of the things. It's kind of sarcastic. He doesn't mean it, but it's sarcastic humor.
So he was a Monty Python fan then?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, he loved all that. He loved Only Fools and Horses was his favorite.
Okay. Okay. Beautiful. Did you watch, were you paying attention when Hellfest rolled out that beautiful Lemmy Monument? And is there anything in the wings with, because that thing was like, oh my God, it's like Goliath in the middle of this field.
Oh, it's amazing. That was amazing. Unbelievable. Well deserved for Lemmy. Lemmy was a fabulous person, a good friend of Ronnie's, and that was wonderful. We need to have those things. Well, there is a statue of Ronnie in Kavana in Bulgaria, a life-size statue in the park of Ronnie, which was great. They put that up many moons ago, and that was great.
How much is left in the vault? How, in terms of rolling out these reissues, will we see anything for The Last in Line or Sacred Heart? You name it.
I'm sure there will be. Obviously I don't want to flood the market. I never would want to do that. Kids only have so much money and they should be able to, buy something. Yeah, I think Rhino has some things next year and the year after. Yeah, they have a long-term plan with different things. We have a lot of stuff in the vault, lots of stuff, and it should be out there. Some of the things I'm like, I was a bit hesitant, like the outtakes to put out, but you know what? The fans need to hear those things. They want them, and what are they doing? Just sitting in the vault, so they should come out and they should hear them.
How big is the vault?
Well, it's like a large living room size. Okay. There's a lot of stuff in there because you remember we had 2-inch tapes at that time. So right. To make an album, there might be like, maybe 20 of these 2-inch tapes. And then we have, when we did videos like Sacred Heart, there's like a whole shelf, a whole line of those stuff with outtakes and intakes and every other take there. So there's a lot of stuff in there. There's a few bits of unreleased material that we're toying with trying to put together. So that there's a lot of stuff. And plus there's some tapes in there. Ronnie used to go down in our studio here at the house and put stuff down as demo stuff. And then before he would then take it into the studio. But those tapes, those demo ones and stuff, that maybe we'll release some of those.
Was he happy with the way the music industry recorded material and how it changed from tape to digital? Or was he happy with the whole tape era?
He had a very hard problem from going from analog to digital. He really did. He fought it for a long time, but then he succumbed to it. And once he did, he was very happy with it. And he was very happy with it after that. But in the beginning, he was old school and he didn't watch it. But Joe Barresi took it from the analog tapes that he did the remix.
So there must be many times when you go into the vault and you just can't remember and you find all these different gems all the time. It must happen, right?
Yeah, but I remember all the times I go in there and I remember the times that when this was done and that was done and everything was done. So, and a lot of times when we did something like a BBC recording or some show that was recorded, I always insisted that I had a master tape of it as well, that I could do something with it later on down the line. So that's why we have a lot of stuff in there. And BMG is going to be putting out the Dio Donington 83 and 87 later on in vinyl, I think, for Record Store Day.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you give me a charity update? What's going on in that world?
Okay, well, unfortunately, we haven't been able to do anything in like 2 years. Right. We are going to do our bowling, our charity celebrity bowling. For the first time, we're going to do it at Pins Bowling Center in Studio City, where we always do it, on November 17th. We're just, my board and I are having a meeting on the 19th about it, and that is going ahead. So we're really happy about that. We've still been raising some money for the charity during the tribute album that came out is still bringing royalties in, which is going to the charity. We are still doing things, and we're supporting Dr. Wong at UCLA with his research for cancer. So we're still, that's still going along, and we're very happy. We're probably going to have the ride next year as well. So that's things going on. I have the documentary coming out finally. I can't say too much about who it's with because we have kind of two different companies wanting it, and I'm not sure which one we're going to go with yet, but it will be in the theaters that I do know are in the fall sometime. And I'll keep you informed on an update on when it actually will be out, but it will be out, and I think it's in like going out in 600 theaters in 30 countries.
And what kind of a documentary is it?
It's fabulous. It's Ronnie's whole life all the way through, and I'm very, very pleased with the film company that did it, 914 Films, and they did an incredible job. It's a great journey. It's a journey into life of Ronnie's life and things that fans maybe didn't know about Ronnie.
What was like your most proudest moment of him in his career?
Let me think. The proudest moment. Well, I was always proud of him, but maybe when he played Madison Square Gardens, which he always wanted to do. He played it with Sabbath, but he wanted to play it with his own band, with Dio. And we had been offered a lot more money to play somewhere else. And he said, no, I want to play Madison Square Garden, because I used to walk the streets trying to get a record deal when he was in Elf, or even before Elf, and always looked at Madison Square Gardens and wanted his name up there. And the ironic thing was that this is before cell phones, of course. And we walked up there, and there was his name in lights. He was playing Madison Square Gardens. He said, Wendy, take a picture. And I said, oops, I forgot the camera. So we never got, he was kind of mad with me about that.
But there's a lot of people in the music business that are happy that there weren't cameras back then, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. I think us included.
Do you remember the first song he played at Madison Square Garden?
Sorry?
Do you remember the first song he played at Madison Square Garden?
No, I don't, but it was probably...
Stand Up and Shout?
Yeah, I think probably Stand Up and Shout, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's on the bucket list left to do for you?
Stand Up and Shout.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. That's a perfect way to end this.